Hello, everyone, and welcome to the stream. I guess it's called, right? Yeah, I kind of mixed between campaign and stream and whatever else this is, but welcome in, whatever we are. Hope you're all well. We are back for another session 57 of our ongoing campaign, which we've been running for over 2 years now. With me, I have a classic yet formidable party. Let's let them introduce themselves.
It's classic yet classy. I'm the Banewall. I play Belzian, the half-elf monk. Hiya!
Hiya.
I'm Amethyst, and I'm playing Roger, the Wood Elf Assassin. Wood Elf Assassin? Yes.
I'm Classic Coke, and I'm playing Ulrich, the Human Paladin.
I'm Jaeger. I play Yarvik Venison Bringer, the Halfling Ranger. Yeah, it's fun.
I'm Zippo, the screaming lunatic of a kobold sorcerer. And, I'm just here to murder stuff and scream, and I'm all out of stuff to murder, so.
And I sometimes play characters as well. So welcome back, everyone. We've been gone a little bit, but we are back and on schedule. So to fill you folks in on what happened last time, and for our players who might not remember, we have been traveling south. Last time we finished a Bahir battle, or Bahir, or however you want to pronounce it. The party had some personal opinions, a personal vendetta against this creature, and decided it was best left not behind them, but instead below them. So they killed it and took its treasure, which turned out to be this magical orb that Zippo's been testing. It seems to give them a view from space of the world, which is interesting, to say the least. They traveled south and coincidentally crossed paths with, their former resting place. One night they rested on the border in Relic just before crossing into Necrata the first time. And they ended up camping in the same place by sheer luck. So they've crossed over into Relic now, and they're just on the outskirts of Aurora. Zippo, in his tomfoolery playing around with the orb, managed to let out a great noise, and Roger spotted a blue flame in the distance, which he answered in kind with the blue flame. Something that he's done before with mixed results. We'll see what it brings this time.
I can only think of good things that have happened.
Well, there have been times when nothing happened. That's probably not as good.
Yeah, sometimes nothing happening was the expected result. Sometimes nothing happening was crushingly disappointing.
Yes, and that's the one I was kind of thinking of for bad. Bane, we love you, Classic Coke. Very nice. So you light the lantern and await whatever comes. You also message the group, hey guys, keep it down, before doing so. Do you elaborate further from here?
I will let them know that I've seen another set of blue lanterns, and that I'm signaling those with my own.
Okay.
And I believe, if I remember correctly, it was to light it 3 times and then extinguish it, so I'm going to do that.
Okay. Sounds good. Psst, guys, is everything okay? Zippo, you hear a whisper behind you.
I turn around real fast.
You see To Kim behind you, one of the riders from the Rock Riders from earlier.
I didn't think you were supposed to follow us.
I lost my group and came back to be with you guys. He says, a look of mirth in his eyes. He looks incredibly excited, but also nervous.
Does the rest of the party notice him?
Roger seems to be looking off in the lantern distance and studying that direction. So far, only you and I guess Ulrich, if you're still close to Zippo, after you both came out of the bag, you probably can hear this going on too.
Okay.
In the ring,
Yeah.
Zippo's gonna be like, "Hey guys, did you know that this guy's following us?" With no other context than that.
Ulrich will provide more context.
He'll just say, which this guy? Who's this guy? Not until just now. But he could yet prove useful.
So yeah, To looks like he kind of has been trying to follow the group as best he can. He looks a little out of breath. You folks having stopped and shouted probably helped him find the group from where he was kind of tracking you. And he doesn't seem to have either of his other two companions with him.
Zippo's gonna be like, "Where's your rock?"
I left it.
All right, why?
Because I want to go with you guys.
We can interrogate him later. What are the what do I see anything happening with the lights in the distance?
So far, nothing.
It's like they haven't seen us.
I don't want to be the bearer of bad news, but maybe the town got ransacked or something.
I mean, if it got taken over by the vampires, I see how that could be actually beneficial for us, because then we don't have to go as far to broker peace with them.
Do you want me to scout ahead?
I mean, you or maybe Arvik, one of the two of you, probably wouldn't be a bad idea. Just don't go out of range of the rings.
Yeah, we can go check.
Say I can do so invisibly. If we want to be really stealthy about this.
I can't do invisible.
All right. Roger will cast invisibility.
Okay.
And then sneak on up. Oh, that is almost as good as I could have rolled. Let's go. 32 for stealth.
Nice.
We are sneaking.
Not only are you not seen, but you are also not heard, and that is something. All right. Yeah, Roger disappears from sight, and Jaeger, you said you were also going to go investigate, right?
There's no point at this point.
Okay.
I'd only make things noisier.
You literally are like, all right, I'll follow your lead, and then he goes invisible, and then just fucking vanishes. You don't even you're like, where the fuck did he go? I don't even see footprints, and you're like, well, I guess he's got it then. All right. So while the group is interacting with Toe, Roger pushes forward to investigate the blue flame. All right, so Roger, you go ahead.
Oh, I was. Apologies.
No, go
I
ahead.
don't really have anything. I don't really have anything.
Okay. Roger, you push forward and see. So you kind of go along the rocks and things like that, just trying not to make any noise or footprint or anything of the sort. And are fairly successful. Your nimble muscles are being stretched after long being on top of a mount that really you weren't able to utilize to sneak with. So it just feels really refreshing to be running through the forest, light as a feather, weaving between trees. The air feels... Oh, the air doesn't feel as great as you really would like it to be. It just feels less fresh than it did in Relic. Well, it was almost perfect, I suppose. And you twist through and find yourself in a clearing with a torch planted in the ground, right in the middle of the clearing. It burns blue.
Not particularly inconspicuous, but do I see any kind of tracks or like signs of activity in the clearing?
You see a pile of heads with wings on them, close by, stacked against a tree.
Do I recognize any of the heads?
Roll a perception check.
28.
Some of them appear to be humanoid or elven. Others appear to be Goliath and Tusk. None of them appear to be anyone you've recognized, although they're in pretty bad shape.
Understandable.
But you do recognize them as Vargoyles. As the light kind of shines through the trees and hits them, you smell a burning, seared meat smell coming off of the pile.
Maybe best to leave those where they are, I guess. How close are we to Aurora?
Maybe a mile?
Visibility lasts an hour. I could get there and back. Well, the spell's up. I'll let the party know I'm heading in that direction, and I'll ping them every minute or two over the rings just to make sure I have connection.
Okay.
Let me know if I don't get a response from them.
They are able to respond to you. They hear you.
Okay.
So, does anybody say anything?
Yeah. If he tells us what he's up to, we'll
I'll
regularly
tell you literally everything.
Yeah.
Literally
Regularly.
Roger.
Yeah. Roger. That's very good.
All right. So while Roger is creeping toward Aurora, anything the rest of the group's doing?
We're gonna be talking to Toe, I think.
Okay.
Yeah, interrogate that motherfucker.
Why?
Well, what do you mean, why?
I mean, look, you're nice, Joe, and we appreciated the help, but we're not part of your clan specifically, and we've known each other for a few days. Why would you abandon the people that your compatriots, your friends, your kin?
But I want to help you. You said that you needed all the help you could get. Y'all seem
Do you know what would
nice
be
enough.
really helpful? A giant bird would be very, very helpful.
You said you didn't want that, so I didn't come with one.
Ah, I see. Can I try to make an insight check to see if this guy is unwell
Sure.
or possessed or crazy?
Okay. You've interacted with him for a few days. You can see if he's acting differently from normal.
16.
I mean, it's strange to you that he's chosen this route, but he has always had a certain attachment to the group. He's kind of fond over all five of you the entire time.
Well, I guess he's one of us now. We can't really send him back into the woods by himself.
That's in the ring, right?
Yeah, like, what do you guys think? This is odd for sure, but what harm could he do?
I'm going to say over the rings, depending on what Roger finds in Aurora, we may need to leave him there. I don't know if at this point we can handle bringing somebody else into the group and having them understand how we operate. Yeah, we've been together for a little bit, but that's pretty much a very special situation of just flying on the back of some rocks. It's not now how we normally operate. So
Zippo, you're glad to see me, right?
Zippo's in his orb.
Zippo?
Zippo can, like he says, yeah, hold on, I'm looking at something. And while he's looking through the orb, he's like looking around, and after he looks around, he comes back and he goes, yeah, you're really cool. And even better, when we teach you how to fight and, how we fight, then you can be helpful in that if we run into anybody, you can kill them with me instead of running away. And he looks around, doesn't see Roger. Yeah.
I don't. It's not that we're not happy to see you. It just is surprising,
Is that the truth?
I'm.
Just out of character. Is that the truth?
I mean, if our general thoughts have been kind of shared about over the rings of he seems on the up and up, no one else is getting this is creepy vibe. Ulrich will be a little unsettled, but he doesn't have ill will towards the guy.
Yeah,
so-
it's more like so you're going into dangerous territory in a war, and you found that the kid that you met in the last town that you gave a biscuit to has followed you to help, right? So is that kind
That's
of
why I stopped
yeah.
giving biscuits out.
yeah, we're now responsible for this guy. Also, he's AWOL. So
Yeah, that's
can he ever go home again?
right. I think Ulrich would I mean, if you're not asking it, Ulrich would.
You say, can he ever go home again? Can we?
Don't want to.
Setting aside Zippo, who doesn't want to.
Look, yeah, it's great to see you. I just didn't expect it. Did you talk with the others about what you were doing?
Oh, they wouldn't have let me come.
Right, so they're just gonna think you're missing.
Yeah.
And what if they go searching for you?
Well, they won't come here. So,
Right, but what if they go searching for you and they run into some trouble as a result?
I didn't think of that.
Yeah, that's why I think we're all just a little surprised. I mean, you're trying to help, but
Well, they'll be okay.
But
They'll be okay. They know Relic. They have my rock, they have their rocks. They'll be fine.
okay.
Here.
Well,
Here's some healing potions. This should help. I want to help. I'll make it worth your while. Here. And he starts taking potions out of his bag and he gives one to each person and then he gives another to each person. They seem to be medium in size. They're butterscotch flavored. I changed the flavor because I thought healing potions tasted awful, so I put butterscotch in them.
hey, well, that's pretty neat. You keeping some for yourself?
Oh, well,
It's actually better. It's probably better if you held on to the healing potions because most of us will probably be like center of the fight, and it'd probably be easier if we had someone in the back that was holding the healing potions. That way, you could, bring them and throw them at whoever you need to.
oh, okay. And he starts taking them back. Zip, are you outside of the orb at this point? Like, because you're interacting enough? All right. After he takes the healing potions, he kind of stands next to Zippo. Which, Zippo, I don't know if you picked up on this or not, but you may or may not be surprised to hear that because he tended to spend all his spare time with you.
It was kind of just like in his own mind, like not through the ring or anything. He's thinking to himself, he's like, "Did I just adopt another uh lost dog?" Well, I guess technically I didn't adopt Brunhild. I bought Brunhild, but that's what that Zippo's mind kind of like he imagined, like when he looks at what's this guy's name? Tarvin?
Toe.
Oh, I knew it was something. My brain
T-O-H.
just
Toe.
yeah. When he looks at Toe, he just thinks of like Brunhild, so that's why he's kind of like, I'll take care of him.
Methinks Toe is more of a puppy than Brunhild.
Yeah.
Well, here I was thinking maybe he could be a cheerleader for the whole group, but it seems he's more of a Zippo cheerleader.
Well, the rest of the group has been kind of questioning him. Zippo's the only one who said, well, now that you're here, we can do this for you, right? So there's that too. All right. So while you're kind of considering this, I'm going to go back over to Roger. Roger, just real quick, while you're leaving the clearing, did you do anything with the torch or anything with the heads?
No, I'm giving the heads a wide berth, and I am going to leave the torch alone, I think. Yeah, it was clearly put there for a reason.
Okay. As you move toward Aurora, you see in the distance more flickering flames that are blue in color, both east and west of you.
Well, let's check out one of them. I guess we'll do the one to the west first.
Okay. All right. So you travel west and come across a little bit more of a disheveled scene. There seems to be the remains of carcasses on the ground, partially burned. There's bones and decaying skin and a few more heads as well. But they're not neatly stacked this time. They're kind of all over the area.
Sounds like the undead have been fighting the elves here. We don't know how normal this is, though. We had to deal with the same kind of problems in our treks through.
Since you see that there's carcasses here, do you want to investigate anything further in that regard, or
Sure.
are you going to push on?
We can take a quick look, but we don't have but so much time left on the spell.
Mhm.
So
Yeah, it took
Just-
you about
just a quick
15 minutes to get here.
yeah, just a quick look at the carcasses.
Okay, give me an investigation.
We be investigating. 19.
Okay, you see shambling footprints that head straight for the torch and then shuffle backward before kind of ending at where the carcasses are resting. You see several instances of this from different directions.
These are fly traps. Got it. Or maybe moth traps for these zombies. I'll pay a little less attention to the blue lights and just head in the direction of Aura.
Okay. Aurora.
Yes.
All right. So as you're heading toward Aurora, you do see different posts setting up watch from trees in similar spots to places that were pointed out to you by Gormir all those weeks ago. So you do see that there is an active watch of elves here. The posts are not abandoned, in other words. You estimate that Aurora is probably about a half hour about a half an hour away. So the question is, do you want to head toward Aurora and lose your spell and try and sneak back? Or seeing that you see the elfin watches, are you heading back now?
I will let the party know that I've found some elves keeping watch, but don't have their attention yet. And I'll ask the party if they want me to talk to the elves here, before making my way back and bringing the party with me, or if we want to come all here all at once.
I think I think if it looks safe to talk with them, it might be good to just get some information, maybe inform us how we should approach, whether we should be approaching with haste and weapons drawn, or you know what I'm saying?
Understood. All right. I guess I will back up out of until I can kind of clear line of sight of them, then drop the spell so it doesn't look like I'm sneaking up on them.
Okay.
Um, and then I'll walk back out in the direction of one of the guard posts.
Okay. Any? Could you describe your appearance as you're walking out?
I will have my sleeves rolled up so that the leaf symbols that Reynard gave us are visible
Okay.
prominently. And if I get no response within a minute or so, I'll go ahead and light the blue torch,
Right.
and open and close the lamp 3 times before extinguishing it.
Right. As you walk out, you're spotted pretty much immediately. And an elf calls out to you and says, "What are you doing out here at this time of day? Are you part of a scouting group? What are you here for?"
I'm with the group that spoke with Reynard several weeks ago. We're back. Would like to speak with him again if he is available.
You're with the humans. He's waiting for confirmation.
Is it safe for humans to approach right now?
As safe as it was then.
Understood.
It is more safe to approach now than, well, at night, I would say. I'm surprised.
They're a mile or 2 behind me.
Hmm.
But I can go get them. I wanted to check to make sure it was safe before we brought them into the city.
It is safe for now. It is probably less safe to be out amongst the trees. Friends have been strengthening the border numbers. We have had to take precaution.
I saw. Very well. I'll return within an hour or so.
Okay.
And I'll pass this information on to the party, let them know the elves know we're here, and I'm coming back to get them.
Okay. All right. Roger's heading back to the group. What do you folks do while he's on his way back?
I think Ulrich would just, reassure Toe and say, well, we're glad to have you. We're gonna be meeting some folks here in Necrata, and they're pretty good. But full disclosure, there have been raids from the Axe Clan down in this region, so there are some sore feelings, perhaps. Just be aware of that.
Well, I'm not of the Axe Clan, so
Right, but they don't necessarily understand that. We just be aware that they may conflate you, right?
well, if I say I'm with you, that should be enough, right? You're their friends.
Yep. That should be enough, but you never know. Just I don't know. Just always be cautious. You know.
Yeah, we'll be fine. We've got our cool like leaf tattoos that we got from the Elven Elder. Like you've got one too, don't you, Toe?
Can I see yours?
I'll show you yours if you show me mine. Wait, I'll roll up my sleeves and show the ink. Or is it ink? It's magical of some sort.
It's a magical impression. You kind of bare your arm, and the only markings that he can see seem to be that's what the Bronze Clan. I didn't know that these. Wow, I didn't know the Bronze Clan was in the Necrata too.
Well, outside of us, I don't think there's a lot of them.
Oh, but you said that these symbols are the symbols that show that you're aligned with these elves, right?
Maybe I showed the wrong arm. Maybe it's this arm. Wait, you can't see that? Look at these. Guys, can you see these? Am I going crazy?
So the marking of the leaf marking shimmered with magic when you were marked, but didn't really stay. It glowed in the moment. Really hasn't sense. Except when the council agreed to your terms, you saw them shimmer again. I don't know if you recall that or not.
I thought we had some like some cool tribal tattoos.
You do from the Bronze Clan, the bronze markings. But the leaf pattern glowed when you made the pact, and then similarly vanished.
Well, that's certainly convenient. But what I'm getting at, Toe, is we have methods of defending ourselves in case of any danger. And I'm kind of wondering what you bring to the table.
Well, none of you noticed me until I let you know I was here.
Okay, so you're sneaky.
Valid.
That's good.
Out of character, what race is Toad?
He's an elf.
He is an elf? Okay.
Yeah.
I thought he was. I didn't think he was a human, but I wanted to double check myself.
Yeah, there were 2 elves and a human. You got the impression that he was related to Quiris in some fashion.
Right.
But you weren't really given anything more than that.
So how
I thought it
confidently
was-
can you lie?
I have 17 brothers.
Yeah, what are their names?
Deception's not your strong suit.
Oh, their names?
Name all of them right now. While we walk to meet Roger.
He kind of looks around wildly and he says, "Well, there's Fern, and then there's Doug, and then there's Bag, and then there's Bottle." I was lying.
Yeah, no, you did good. There is one other thing you should know about this land, and that is that vampire. You understand vampires do rule this land, and they don't necessarily treat people well.
Are they worse than the demons that attacked the capital? Because I don't want to go back there.
No, a different kind of bad, maybe.
Maybe worse.
Think
I
of it
don't
this
know.
way. This is a better way to explain it. All right, Toad. The vampires here, excluding the elves, assume everybody else is essentially food for them. Like how, you guys keep those creatures back, or you guys keep like farms and stuff. Essentially, that's what they do. But with everybody that's not an elf, because they have an agreement with the elves not to do that.
Oh, so I'll be okay then. They won't hurt me.
But
Well,
they can
well-
tell the difference between elves, because of smell. I guess I don't really know how vampires work, but I know they can tell the difference because
Is
they
it
know.
is it because of my butterscotch potions that they can smell me?
The smell might be strong, but I don't think it's that. I think it's more of like a blood thing.
Okay. I didn't want
I
to
think
have
it's
to dump
assuming.
They
these
may
I
out.
not
don't know
be.
about him.
He kind of looks both from Zippo to Ulrich. I'm sorry. What was that, Ulrich?
Oh, I was trying to say they just may be unkind to you, and also, again, just trying to say be careful.
Okay. You be careful too. And I'll be here if you need me.
Sounds good.
Zippo, I do want to point out one thing that I didn't mention last session, and that is when Ulrich took you into the bag to kind of muffle your screams earlier, your sense of awareness of where you were in perpetuity to where the orb in space was, you got very disoriented for a second because you felt very distant from it for a time. When you were, and then all of a sudden, your sense of self was infinitely closer to you before you disconnected from the orb to come back out.
Okay. Yeah, Zippo's gonna try not to have to do that again. Zippo is interested in testing the orb more along the way. So if Ulrich is willing to carry him, he would like to go back into it. And he promises not to scream.
Of course, I always got you.
Okay. Zippo will hop back up and he'll go back into the orb.
Okay. Ulrich, you feel a tug at your shirt, your sleeve. Or sorry, not Ulrich. Yarvik. Yarvik, you feel a tug at your sleeve.
Yes.
You see Toe kind of looking down at you a little bit. He's a little taller than you. Yarvik,
Can I help you?
I brought you something. And he looks around conspiratorially, and he holds out a hand to you.
All right, I'll look.
A big sausage is in his hands.
See, you know the way to a halfling's loyalty. What sausage is this?
This is something that we trade with the halflings. They make the best food, and I thought that you might want mine, being that you're so far from home.
I will share it with you. How does that sound? I've never had halfling sausage from my native land, so
Okay.
the next time we have a meal, we'll share this together.
That sounds great.
But you still shouldn't have followed us.
Oh. Do you guys want to hear how I followed you? More? Or... Wait, where are we going?
Oh yeah, did I warn the party about the blue torches with all of the zombies next to them?
No, you didn't.
Ah.
Yeah, you kind of said, there's nothing here, I'm gonna go investigate Aurora, and then you kind of...
Like, ooh, fly trap, and then just left.
Yeah. So I assume the party is traveling. Are you traveling toward Aurora directly? Are you? What? How are you? What are you doing?
Yeah, I think we're traveling towards Aurora because that's where we've been summoned to. And I apologize, I was muted, but Ulrich did say, "Yeah, how did you find us, please?"
Got it. Okay. Yeah, you were muted. I thought it was weird that nobody was answering. he,
Zippo's in the orb. He's too distracted.
yeah. So Toe kind of follows along the group and says, "Well, after you left and we flew off," and he kind of goes into a story and kind of gives like every detail from his perspective. Basically, he talks about how the first chance he got when they took a break, he left his rock with his compatriots while they were investigating something. He doesn't know what. They didn't tell him. They told him to wait with the rocks. And then he broke off from them and started making his way back across the wall. He talked about having to fight some frog-like creatures, and then weaved his way through the forest before he picked up your trail. And he talks about all the different animals he saw and how he hid from some strange, gross smelling things that didn't look like the group, and then finally found the group.
All right, well,
You're reminded of Zippo telling a story, like over
Yeah, I was
the
gonna
top
say.
details. Yeah.
Earlier when Zippo was reflecting on this being a dog, I was just reflecting on it being Zippo. Well, that's quite the adventure you went on there.
What happened to you?
Well, we fought a Bahir thing, and that was absolutely terrifying. You might have seen that.
I was there for that. Yeah.
Yeah, thanks for your help there. That was very good. And then we just kind of been, traipsing through the woods to get to where we need to go.
You must
There
have
was some screaming, but that's pretty normal for us.
fought all kinds of things.
You'll never know.
He kind of falls silent and follows the group. Go ahead.
Oh, just I mean, Ulrich will regale him with a war story or something.
Okay. Sounds good. Zippo, while you are in the orb, what are you trying to do?
Zippo's just trying to make out things he hasn't seen yet.
Sure. Make a perception. All right. Not really much new. There's rocks kind of floating all around. Some hitting each other. You don't see that kind of broken up rock that you saw before. It must have either dropped away or gone somewhere else, or maybe it's obscured by other rocks. Yeah.
Okay.
You can see two large the two moons of Renovar, Sierra, and Rian orbiting around the planet. And I mean, orbiting's kind of misleading. It's not like you can see the active orbit, right? They're big celestial bodies, so they're not moving. They're moving as fast as they would as observed from Earth, right? It's just from a different perspective. So you can see them in the same area as the planet below.
Let's see here. While Zuko's looking in there, he's going to whisper this time in Draconic into the thing, hoping maybe it was just too loud, it didn't pick it up. So he whispers in Draconic, you know, calling out for like dragons and stuff because that's like his favorite thing.
Okay. High or low?
Let's do high.
Okay. You whisper. You don't see any of effect in space. Nothing like turns its attention to you, but you haven't really seen anything living at the moment.
Zippo just keeps on looking. He's
Okay.
confident in one day he will see something amazingly cool like a dragon in space.
Space dragon. All right. The party makes its way toward Roger, and Roger makes his way to the party. And by kind of continuing to communicate over the rings, you're able to kind of triangulate and find each other in the forest. Gone are the days where you just miss each other by being a street over like you did in Jewel that one time.
We've gotten better at navigating since then.
We've mastered Marco Polo.
It helps that you have rings of communication now.
Yeah, the rings of communication, like Roger and Yarvik both being, Yarvik being excellent at navigation and Roger being at least okay at seeing where stuff is.
Yes.
We can get there. All right. So did we pick up an extra person?
You remember Toe?
It's a long story.
Oh, hello, Tell.
It's a really long and detailed story.
It might actually be convenient for us that you're here. It's good to see you.
He lights up like a lantern been lit by a blue light.
Watch out for the little blue torches they have around. Looks like they attract zombies and Vargiles.
Belzian spits. That.
Indeed. Well, I've let the guards know we're coming. So let's go, and I'll lead the party in the direction of the watchman that I saw.
Okay. You make your way back, and the watchman basically say, "Okay, you may pass. Welcome. We cannot lead you there. You know the way, though. I trust."
Of course.
They are made aware that you are on your way.
Thank you.
He turns his
Wish you a
eyes.
safe and uneventful watch.
He kind of nods silently and has his eyes on the tree line. Bow partially knocked, so that he's not straining his muscles. He's just ready to pull when needed.
Yep. And I'll lead on into Aurora. Let's go.
Okay. You head into Aurora. To describe it again, the homes and structures and buildings of Aurora are all made out of the trees. The trees have been shaped to make the different structures around the area. You remember one particular one well, and that's Reynard's tree, toward the center of the village. Ultimately speaking, Aurora is in fairly quiet demeanor. It seems much more muted. People still give you the same looks that they did last time, but there's more of a wariness to them. Feel free to give me perception checks from each of the members of the party, and I can tell you a little bit more about the town as you walk through it.
22.
Oh, they're coming through slow. You critically failed there, huh?
Hooray for consistent expertise. Reliable talent, is what it's called. I can't count on my dice, so I have to build my character with not use dice.
Yeah. All right. Ulrich, you're kind of keeping a watchful eye on Toe, so you are kind of more. Your attention is pretty much drawn toward that mission, as well as keeping Zippo, on as he's kind of straining his neck. It seems as he's trying to look around what doesn't seem to be anything. I kind of take it akin to like when somebody plays a video game and they try and look around the corner before they look around the corner. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Hoping that would give them the extra, amount that they need to see what they need to see. Zippo, are you still in the orb at this point? I see that you made a perception, so I'm not going to count
I
that
didn't make a
perception.
perception.
Oh, is that from earlier? Got
That was
it.
from the orb, yeah.
Copy that. All right. Jaeger, the town looks about the same as last time. Belzian, same. Roger, some of the trees have a discolored look to them. If it weren't still summertime, you'd think that the first signs of fall were approaching, and maybe that's the case. It is the end of the summer. But some of the trees have yellow leaves instead of green, like they did last time.
That's disconcerting. I'll decline to mention that to the party, though.
Okay. I assume you continue heading toward Reynard's tree?
Yep. That was my plan.
Everybody good with that?
Yep.
Onwards.
Okay. Reynard is seen standing at the foot of the steps that lead up to his pavilion. He kind of looks happy to see you all alive, but also has a curious expression on his face as to say, "Why are you back?" kind of. Any motions you to come forward?
And we get up close. I'll bow slightly, and it's good to see you again. We have good news.
It's good to see you too. Good news, you say? I could use some good news.
Well, to manage expectations, we also have bad news, but good news first. We have convinced the clans of Relic, all of them, to to at least meet to try and broker peace with Seregen. And if, so it's just the vampires left.
Just Seregen. They're not willing to broker
and
peace.
and Necrata, but we did let them know that we still have to talk to the vampires.
Yes, I mean they're willing to talk, and then they're ceasing any kind of expansion down here. They're just going to defend their own borders for now, but vampires.
Well, that would explain why forces have stopped moving into the border as of late. Excellent.
We do have some bad news. And if hopefully you don't already know this bad news, but we encountered demons attacking Relic. And that's kind of what prompted the Council of Clans to go along with our request for peace.
Now, when
We're afraid that
Go ahead.
we're afraid that they might be attacking Seregen and Necrata too.
Now, when you say demons, what do you mean?
Zippo, why don't you describe them?
Zippo comes orb, and he'll pull out his notebook and start showing the pictures of the demons he did draw. And then he'll describe, to the best of his recollection and ability, the guy that came out of the chair. And Zip, I don't remember his name, so I don't know if Zippo would, but
Null was the name that we heard.
Zippo will repeat it in the Abyssal language.
Yeah, so you say Orcus in Abyssal.
Yeah.
Which comes out null to the rest of the group. But it's kind of a guttural null. Null. Like that. Yeah, whenever Zippo speaks Abyssal, it's almost like he's snarling. It's almost like he's channeling his dragon side.
Heck yeah.
It's an interesting parallel. Come with me, and he motions you to come up, and tell me who you seems you have picked up another member of the party. Is this your diplomat from Relic? He seems a little young.
This is Toe. The Rock Clan helped us get back from the capital of Relic to Necrata quickly, and he decided he wanted to tag along with us.
Well, of all the companions you could have brought from Relic, this was not a bad choice. Sure to turn less heads. But he is young. Be careful with him. He says,
We'll do what we can.
He's saying this in Elvish, knowing full well that the boy probably knows what he's saying. It can probably hear him.
How does Toe react?
Toe kind of does a side eye, not at Reynard, but just kind of a side eye to the side, as in kind of like a guilty look, or maybe a bitter look about it. You're not really sure which.
All right, well, let's see what Reynard has to show us.
So Reynard leads you back up to the pavilion. You remember this pavilion because you hid beneath it when the Baroness visited Aurora last time. The rug that you hid under is still there. It seems to be finely woven. The canopy that once was full of sculptures is eerily empty. Not one sculpture remains. There's nothing in the trees anymore. This tree is also yellow, has yellow leaves in it.
Oh God, it's been like a year. I don't remember what the sculptures were. I remember they were magical.
The sculptures that Reynard was making, he was like using like wood form, like he was making wooden sculptures out of forming wood to make them, and he was usually forming them around like precious stones. So, like for example, the one that you saw him do was one of a doe, and the precious stone was a pearl. And yeah.
Did the thing come to life and they feed the vampires with it? Am I remembering that correctly?
No, there was a doe that they gifted the vampires, a living doe that looked similar to the sculpture.
Ah, okay.
It's funny what memory does, though, to make those that parallel combined into one. I like it.
What's happening to the trees here, Reynard?
They're sick. I can't explain it. They about 3 weeks ago started getting sick. And each time one got sick, they fell silent. I couldn't even ask why or what was wrong. They don't respond to healing.
Is it just the trees? Or the grass too and the other plants?
Fortunately for now, just the trees. Why? Do you know something? Is this related to your demons?
Yes. Near where we saw the demons in Relic, there were diseased plants and kind of blasted, scorched ground.
Sidebar, we also did run into sick trees well before that, though, when we were still in this area, did we not?
I don't remember.
I don't remember that.
So I could swear one of the talking trees, was sick and dying.
So you're talking about the elder tree that was north of you that you told stories to. That was in Relic. And he wanted stories before he died.
Right. Ulrich would mention that because that was how many weeks ago?
It was probably a week prior to being here, or maybe a few days.
A month or so before now, I think.
Mm-hmm.
Right, and if 3 weeks ago the trees started to die.
Yeah, I would say it might have been a month and a half ago.
Okay. Ulrich will just mention it as someone who is completely ignorant of the tree culture.
Yeah, for sure. That was in Relic.
Yep.
Maybe something else came over.
Excuse me, I'm so sorry.
Maybe something else came over when the wall came down. Disease. Or something worse. And he exchanges a look with Roger. Too many R names. As I was saying earlier, it was an interesting parallel. The vampires always stated that the wall protected them because on the other side were demons and monsters. And now that the wall's down, you speak of demons.
Perhaps they were not wrong.
But did they mean the metaphysical version or the actual name?
Well, there's only one way to find out.
I suppose we could go ask them.
So that leads me to my next question. You seek an audience with the vampires? What's your plan?
I'm gonna be honest, I'm just impressed we got this far.
It's kind of why we're back here, actually. We were hoping you might be able to provide a little bit of guidance. I mean, we don't even really know where they're at or how Necrata is divided amongst its peoples. So anything that you could provide would be of help, of assistance.
I doubt you want to get involved in the machinations of politics of the baronies. So your best bet would be to head directly to the capital, which is quite a ways south of here. You'll likely need a guide to get there. The lands to the south are, well, riddled with many dangers. There's the wastes, the render fields, and worse, there's Dracoliches out there. But also...
Sorry, Draco, what?
Dracoliches.
So pretty much the worst land you could possibly imagine. Okay. Yep.
You also have vampire patrols, which I doubt you want to encounter. I'd assume that you want to get as close to the kingdom as possible so that you can treat with the king or queen.
The king or queen? Do they not hang out together?
Let's just say both of them make decisions for the country, but they are not always unified.
Do
you think one would be easier to convince than the other?
That I can't answer. Most of my dealings have been with Baroness Bavon.
Understood. I doubt we'll have any luck talking to her.
No, she's quite perturbed at current history. But we do have Ire back. She came back a few weeks ago.
Excellent.
Yes, I suppose she was satisfied with her answers.
It's always good to see a familiar face. Perhaps Ire could give us some pointers on where to go next.
If Ire is willing, maybe she'll even be your guide. That or Gormir, maybe another member of the party that you came in on.
It'd be good to see any of them again.
I'm sure they'll be happy to see you. So, tell me more of your journey. How was the East? How is my compatriots to the east. How did you fare in the Elven Passage?
We did all right. Some interesting things down there. We encountered what looked like a giant sitting on a throne surrounded by treasure. We did not disturb it. So I don't know if it was an illusion or just a tomb or something preserved.
Interesting.
You guys really like doors. Just so many doors.
Well, if you don't want vampires going through it, you make some doors.
Fair enough.
Speaking of doors, I was recently knocking on death's door, and these wonderful folks in a town in the east, Emerald, I think it's called, done did a good and saved my life.
No, that was them. That was here.
I was here?
It wasn't here. Do a history check for me, Belzian.
Oh, I was gonna say, over the rings, we do not want to tell the elves about Freehold.
Well, Freehold's in the south, right? We're thinking of... There's 2 freeholds on the map. What is this?
There is tree.
14.
And if there was another one, it would be Threehold, right? What was that again?
Aha!
That was a 14.
14. Okay. Yeah, you got sick from some gargoyles to the east of here, and some humans helped you out somewhere on the side of the border.
Now, without being specific, Belziad mentions there are folks that are fighting the good fight alive and well.
As in, some elves helped you?
All sorts of folks have helped us.
I'm gonna do a insight check on you. I got a 12.
Belzian would give like a friendly wink.
Okay. All right. Things have been rough since you left. I'm glad you were able to broker peace, but the Relicarians prove a formidable opponent, and our mistress is enraged by it.
Hopefully those invasions should stop.
That's kind of the angle that we want to go with. That's actually, while I'm very sorry about your losses, it's in our favor, perhaps, that your mistress is so enraged, and that this has been a difficult time. It may result in peace down the line.
Well, I'm sure you saw on your journey here, the forests are filled with the undead in greater number than ever. We've had to put up precautions so that they don't overrun our town. Our food sources are slowly depleting.
Well, I'm sorry about trying to put a positive spin on that. It's obviously a bad situation.
All the more reason for us to have as much information as we can before we venture south. What is the city's name? What our ultimate goal? What is the name of the capital?
Well, Maynir.
Oh boy. That's the place that's on Zippo's. I'm not saying this in character, out of character. That's the place that's on Zippo's little map.
Yeah.
Definitely a point of interest already.
Well, it looks like we're not going to be able to avoid going there any longer.
Yay! Very excited.
It's an old name.
Does it mean anything?
He shrugs. With the vampires, does a name mean anything?
Hard to say, I suppose.
Yes, do you know? Does anything mean anything to the vampires? Like, what do they believe in? How can we appeal to them?
What do they covet?
Well, they wish to survive. That you have going for you. They're obviously, in some fashion, afraid, though I wouldn't phrase it that way. There isn't many vampires, but they are a powerful force, and they can always make more if they need to. Anything that would give them strength would be something that would attract them or bring them safety.
Perhaps we can bring them safety. I don't know what strength we have to offer that the king and queen of vampires don't already have. But the promise that they will have peace instead of war may be good enough.
It seems like mostly they just want to be left alone to rule over their own lands. Maybe that's the best that we can guarantee them, that Seregen and Relic would just stay out of their way. If they're not interested in trade or anything, then just kind of put some big old verboten signs on the border and leave them to their devices. Not great for all of the slaves or humans here, but I don't know if changing the course of Relic beyond just leaving, or changing the course of Necrata beyond just leaving Relic and Seregen alone. I don't know if that's going to be realistic for us.
We are but 5. Well, 6 now.
It is getting close to 9, so I think let's take our 10-minute while we're at a pause here. And we'll come back fresh in about 10 minutes. So let's say 9:05.
Sure.
Awesome. Okay.
All right. We will see you all real soon. Don't go too far. We're just taking our 10-minute break. We'll be right back.
Don't touch that dial.
All right, we're back from the break. Welcome back, everyone. Thanks for sticking around, all of you out there in the Twitch world. So we've been talking to our village elder here, Probably walking on moonshine. Whoa, oh. That's a good. I mean, if she's getting drunk, more power to her, right? So Reynard is talking with the group. I think we just asked him. We asked him a few things, so I think it's the questions are in your field again.
Well, should we It sounds like we should go looking for a guide. Should we go find Air or Gormier?
I can summon them
Yes.
here if you'd like.
Sure, I suppose.
Okay. He goes down the steps to have somebody go fetch them, and comes back. While we wait for them to come. What else can I tell you? Or what else can you tell me?
How much do you know about space?
You probably would phrase it, how much do you know about the sidereal plane?
Yeah, sorry.
I know it is the barrier plane between the outer realms and the inner realms.
Are there dragons there?
I'm not sure what is out there, aside from the celestial bodies that we see in the sky.
Yeah, those are definitely there. And a bunch of rocks. Trying to call for dragons when I go there.
What?
And so, like, with his orb still in hands, he goes, "Yeah, when I focus on this thing, I can go out there, but I'm kind of like stuck in an area, and if I talk, it's my actual body talking, and I can't cast spells, through it into that area. So I'm just trying to like mess around to see if I can get dragons to come and talk to me at least when I'm out there."
May I see it?
Sure. Zip, let him hold it.
As a reminder, you didn't need to attune to it, did you? Or did you?
Yeah, I did.
Okay. He casts Identify on it to try and figure out what it is. And looks at it in surprise and says, "This is a greater scry stone."
What
A
is
grindstone.
A greater scrying stone, yes.
Does that mean if I think about somebody, I can scry on them?
No. This stone has a pair. And it seems that mate is in the sidereal plane.
Why would somebody make a pair of scrying stones and then shunt one of them out of this reality?
This stone looks altered. Did you add these bits? And he gestures at the melted stone.
No, I think it actually came from the plane because a Behir was protecting it and it looked like it was crashed into the ground.
So it was also there at one point.
Yeah.
And you said you see lots of rocks out there?
Yeah, I can see the moons, what I assume to be our planet, if they would call it a planet in this in this area?
Our world.
World, yeah. Our world. I can see a bunch of cool. There was a bunch of rocks that had stuff in them that I saw at one point. There's even one that looked kind of like an area I used to go to whenever I was contracted with my demon of a master.
Okay. Fascinating.
Yeah. But I guess that makes sense as to why I never feel like I can never move whenever I'm out there. It's always just kind of stagnant in one area.
So, another name for the sidereal plane is the Sea of Stars. That's as a given name, but one more that I know of is called the Recursive Pocket. If you saw broken rocks that looked like they had interiors that reminded you of that dwelling place, those rocks might very well be pocket dimensions.
That explains why there was like some cool looking items that were just kind of hanging out there too. I wanted to grab them, but I can only really see. I can't touch yet.
Yes, I don't think you will be able to interact with whatever you see in that realm.
Dang.
Zippo, could you see inside of that handbag Jordan gave you? To the little pocket office, so to speak.
It felt like, if I remember correctly, and it maybe my brain played tricks on me, but you said that whenever I got put into the pocket space or into the bag space, it felt like I was infinitely closer than.
Yes.
Yeah. So then it's like, yeah, I felt whenever I got put in there while I was in the orb, like very confused because I felt like I was right next to where the orb was.
I wouldn't say right next to, but much closer.
Yeah, much closer than normally when I use the orb. So that pocket dimension thing kind of makes sense, I guess. I just want to know why my real curiosity is, were these in a pocket dimension thing and then they got, the pocket dimension got destroyed in some possible way and then one fell to, our world? Or was somebody out there and they just kind of got bored and was like, I'm going to toss one of these and then just kind of booked it with it?
Could be many things.
Or is there a dragon out there and he's watching us while I'm trying to watch him, but I can't see him because he's invisible?
Reynard kind of shrugs. I know not if it matters where it came from. It does. What matters more is that it is now yours.
Sure. So other than just being able to see that, is there ever is there a way I can I don't know, pull the other one towards me? Like, do they have like a homing type thing?
Well, I mean, if you knew teleport, you might be able to, if you know that area from seeing it, be able to go there someday. But I would not jump blindly into the night. I hear the planes outside of the material realm are not as hospitable as here.
Okay. So, Mehnir is where we need to go because it's the castle of the vampires.
And there's a city within the mountains, underneath the mountains, which is where they live.
Okay. And then I have the map that has the X there. So, Does that mean somebody was like marking that's where the vampire castle is going to be? Or is that somebody like they went to the vampire castle, hid something there, and then came back?
Where did you get this map? Ire comes up the stairs and joins the group, looking pleased to see them. Gormir is not there.
Zippo will tell Rainier, or yeah, he'll tell him that the map was in the same place he contracted the ring with his uh patron. It was sitting there, and he assumed it was a treasure map. And did my patron ever tell me anything about the map, or
Nope.
no? My patron, I'm assuming, either didn't know or never told me about the map before I dipped out, and now I have the map, and I don't remember. I think was it one of the elves, like one of the three, that told us where the map was, like where it was located at, or was it Rainier?
You're able to match up the map to the south. The three told you that that area was vampire territory, but didn't recognize the name Manir. Reynard did.
Okay. Gotcha.
So it seems like that older name isn't as well known for whatever reason, but Reynard knows it.
Fine. Let's Zippo will tell him. I'd be like, yeah, they told me that that's what it was called and where it was at, and then I'm just now learning what it is there.
My friends, how are you? She gives you all a cool but pleased to see you smile. If you remember anything about Ire, she was a cool-headed person, not quick to trust, and didn't really get to say goodbye to the group because she had been taken for an investigation.
It's good to see you safe, Ire.
She gives an unconscious wince as you say that, as in like having to relive that moment. You see that she has some visible injuries. She walked in with a limp.
In that case, sorry, we've rested since the Bahir, right?
Yes. Or
Yeah.
We didn't.
Yeah.
We didn't. Did we fight something afterwards that I'm forgetting?
nope.
No.
Why am I not rested? I know I
guess-
hit the button.
I guess it didn't click.
Yeah.
Maybe it's so.
Okay. Weird. Anywho, Ulrich would.
Save your healing if you're about to.
Yeah, I mean, I have lesser restoration, lay on hands. I mean, a little bit of rest, my healing comes back.
The Baroness told me I must heal not magically.
So, Rainer, what do you think about this plan of ours to try and broker peace? Because in the end of it all, you're going to be still stuck under their thumb.
Why do you have another option?
Well, it occurs to me that if No, not really. I just, I just, if I'm just kind of thinking broadly here, that if the vampires didn't exist, there would be a sort of power vacuum here. And, I wonder who might fill it.
Well, anyone who's left? I'm sure the realm would be divided up. It's a good question. But I would say it would be better to ally with strength if you're worried about another danger. Not dividing this nation further.
Oh, of course. I'm thinking more long term, really. You know, there's an old saying in my family: fight the battles that are present, but plan the wars yet to come. So, just kind of thinking about that.
Probably,
I know.
Probably a good mentality to have going in with making this treaty.
Indeed. Long term, it is my hope that Relic and hopefully Necrata and Seregen will all be copacetic with one another. But for all my love of our land, there's a certain sensibility. That's maybe not the right word, but a certain equity, we'll say, to the lands of Relic, that it does seem to me might benefit your lands. And while they are conquering you, or were conquering you, or attempting to conquer you, what might happen if the elves rallied alongside their invaders, the Axe Clan? What might have happened then? But anyway, that's all questions for things that have already happened and things not yet to come, so
I would say this. Planning for a hand not dealt might be unwise, but I am listening. But what I will say is, if you have any hope of bringing the vampires around, I'll phrase it like this. You were weary and wary of a pact I once offered you for this very mission. Vampires are very bureaucratic. They will make a contract. It won't be some agreement. It will be a document you sign promising certain things, and those certain things will need to be of advantage for the vampires to join you. So be careful what plans you plan, and be mindful of what things you offer. For I fear we will have to lose something in order to gain something here. How else are you going to make it worth their while? Getting there is hard. Getting out will be harder.
Of course. Uh,
Did the people of Relic send you with any things that you can promise? Did Seregen?
Seregen sent us with good feelings, and people of Relic sent us with assurances that if shit's not started, shit won't be started. So,
Also defense. It's really kind of just a on our shoulders type deal, so it's kind of a make up as you go type thing, I think. But now that I'm also, as if I was gonna be like, now that I'm also, remembering, did you say Draco leeches? Because Zimbo was kind of really thinking about the orb at that point, and I was like, when would he mention it? I'm like, yes, okay. And so I think I'll bring that up now.
Yes.
Awesome. Okay, I just wanted to make sure. Definitely gonna want to at least see one for my awesome drawing book. So with the vampires, do we have a way to make sure they won't just immediately murder the non-elf members of our party?
Who did you ask that to?
He's just kind of phrasing it as a general question to our party and also to Raynard, because he seems to be the most knowledgeable here about vampires.
Very good question.
Maybe we need really good disguises. Like glasses and mustaches.
We could file our teeth so they think that we're vampires.
I think y'all will need fake ears.
I suppose if you were filing teeth, that would, since they're so bureaucratic, they would probably enjoy that.
Ah.
Filed under T, I assume.
Good point.
I was slightly out of character.
No good job's done until the paperwork is finished.
No good job is done until the paperwork is started, sir.
Bureaucracy. Perhaps we could write the vampires a letter.
In triplicate.
And while they're confused and debating it, we could slip in and just tell them how it really be.
Yeah, I don't have any good recommendations. I don't know of a surefire way to guarantee your safety in these lands, my friends.
Maybe we just make a show of power. We just go in guns blazing, and if we somehow survive guns blazing, we can maybe convince them that way.
That's right. We come in peace as we kill their countrymen.
Hear me out. Maybe one of us learned to summon a demon to prove to them that there's demons summoned somewhere else, and then maybe that can convince them.
We will show them our peaceful ways by force.
Look, I'm good at hitting things and hitting things. Okay.
look, I'm gonna level with y'all. Obviously, I'm all for peace, but I kind of just hate these vampires without having had a lot of interactions with them. So
They definitely didn't leave a very good impression last time we saw them, and I certainly hope they don't leave any impressions in our necks.
yeah.
I mean, not to be that guy or anything. We joined the Bronze Clan to convince the rest of Relic. I'm not saying it's the best option, but worst case scenario, maybe one of us has to become a vampire to convince the vampires.
Without saying anything, Belzine immediately looks at Toe.
Toe's kind of been kind of looking around bored at this point. You're all talking about stuff that Toe doesn't really understand. So
Yeah.
Toe doesn't really notice the look.
Well, before we think too hard about what our strategy needs to be for talking to the vampires, we need to reach them. And for that, we'll need a guide. And I'm not going to lie, we had hoped that it would be you from your skillful guiding of us all the way through Relic. But it doesn't look like you're in condition to do that for us.
I will manage if you need me.
I mean, forgive me for asking, but if you are guiding us, can't we heal you at that point? I mean, is she gonna just suddenly appear and...
I suppose we might be able to make some exceptions. But I can move around fairly easily. It's just noticeable that I'm injured, that's all. It looks worse than it is. The Baroness was good about that. She winces.
If you're willing to guide us, we'd love to have you do so. We're headed straight for the capital.
I wish Gormir was here.
Where is Gormir?
He's out scouting.
Yeah.
Good old Gormy. Always.
Like-
Yeah.
Scouting as in,
He's
like, he'll be back in an hour, or...
he's in the area. He's not back in Relic.
Okay. Right, but I mean, like, he'll be back later kind of scouting, or he'll be back in a month kind of scouting.
He's been gone for a week.
Okay.
Over the rings, I'll ask the party, do we have any way of maybe scrying on people we know? See if we could find out where Gormir is, what he's up to, if he's in trouble that we could rescue him from?
I don't think we gave him any rings or anything like that.
Jordan might have known
Or-
something, but yeah.
Brunhild may remember his scent and might be able to track him, but
Well, that's disappointing news. I hope he returns soon. I'm not sure if there's anything we can do to help about that. I'm not sure if we have time to wait.
perhaps we could inquire as to where he is scouting and conveniently go that way on our way to the capital.
Well, if we run into him, we run into him. But I think we're going to be trying to avoid people as much as possible.
Understandable. Will we be traveling at night? Or during the day to avoid vampire patrols?
I would recommend traveling during the day.
Okay.
Well,
What time is it right now? Out of character.
so it is evening at this
Okay.
point. She kind of second guesses herself and says, "There's probably goods and bads with either option. Traveling at night has its dangers, but at least we'd be alert. Traveling during the day has the facade of safety while we rest, but has its own dangers as well. And not all undead are weak to the day."
Perhaps you could teach us a bit more about this. Give us a little bit of a primer on some of these creatures we may encounter.
Well, and she kind of thinks and says, "If I only had a map. Do you still have that globe device?"
Yep.
Oh no.
Ulrich drops the globe. I just heard a crash. So she looks.
Wasn't on my end,
Okay.
but Ulrich drops the globe. Yep, of course not. Whoops. Sorry.
So she kind of points out where you all are, and I'll move our. So if this is Aurora where we are, we can take the tree network south for one travel. It will bring us to the forests south of here, and then we can go along either the river or what I more recommend is head more due south toward the wastes. There's less patrols in the wastes because they're more dangerous, but if we don't want to get caught, that would probably be the way I would go. And if Zippo wants to see a Dracolich, he would likely see one there.
That's the direction we needed to go.
I would rather not
Just
see it.
yeah, right. Like, no offense, Zippo, but you do get there's an undead dragon under the control of the vampires, right?
And so we go meet it and turn its control to ours. Come on, guys.
Oh.
A very convincing argument, but I'm going to side with everyone else on this
Who
one.
casts the most magic here? I got this.
See, when you said you wanted to see a Dracolich, I thought you had some sort of item that might nullify it, or you might have some way of doing something to it. But if the plan is to befriend it, I'm having second thoughts about taking it to the waste. I will say that going along any of the rivers is going to put us up against a lot more chances of coming in contact with vampires. It's going to be risky. The baronies are flush with vampire loyalists, both slave and vampire alike. The slaves fear death, or worse, and dare not defy their master. We will not find friends there. We will need to move without compassion through those lands. And she looks at each of you meaningfully in that.
Understood. I'll need to buy more arrows here then.
Zippo's still like caught up on the whole taming a Draco Lich thing.
But it does seem that there would be a very good chance that we're going to encounter some kind of hostile vampire patrol. Do you think there might be any way to reason out of a hostile encounter?
She shrugs. You all talked your way out of being captured by the Axe Clan. You would know better than me.
Yes, talked our way out. Oh,
I mean,
we'll come up with something, I'm sure.
yeah, if talking don't work. We just hit him really hard and run.
Foolproof plan. They'll never
I was
catch
thinking
me.
something along the lines like what Yarvik suggested, like a disguise. Perhaps not mustaches and glasses. Maybe something to conceal the more
we
human-like figures.
Don't we have a hat of disguise?
At least one, I think.
I've got a hat that changes colors, but that's about it.
It does sound familiar that somebody has one.
Yeah, I thought we took the hat of disguise off of somebody.
Yes, you did. Off of Gerard.
Yeah. I don't know who ended up with that.
Not I.
Does Yarvik have two hats?
Nope.
Oh god, what session was that?
You know what? I could probably look at campaign summaries. Hat of Gerard's
Session
buddy
24.
and his. It was session 24. Yes. Let's see. So the group immediately want to head back. So I didn't note who took what.
There is a hat of disguise on the list of stuff we found.
Yeah.
Yep.
So somebody has it. It's probably just in the bag of holding right now. Then.
Okay. We'll put it on Ulrich's head. Ulrich, you are now an elf.
I've never felt closer to you, Roger.
Not even when we were sharing a room at the inn?
I was a different kind of close, but now I feel like I can actually relate to you.
I'm so sorry.
Yeah, me too.
Well, we have a disguise. I guess Yarvik is the only one who's not well disguised at this point. Or
Maybe
actually,
we could convince them that Jarvik and Zippo are children. I mean, Zippo already is a child, but we could pretend we're like a family unit. I mean, we're kind of.
Sure, like when you go to a buffet and you're close to aging out, and then your parent tells you, if anybody asks, you're 12.
Exactly.
sounds good to me.
Of course, they could just think of children as various kinds of feels. So, I don't know.
Right. I do like the idea
when-
of traveling during the day, just because Zippo is sensitive to sunlight, and he'll be keeping watch. And if he keeps watch at night, he'll be more likely to see things that are going on.
Zippo, he's like sitting on the floor also, and like regarding like the 12 thing, Zippo's like he's like looking at it and goes, but Zippo 5. That was a very bad joke.
Close enough.
You're really making your traveling decisions based off of the perceptions of Zippo?
Why not? He's a welcome member of the party, and has proved very useful and helpful in the past.
Do not mistake me. He's proved quite useful for many things, but if I recall correctly, keeping watch was not one of them, even at night.
Well, if a Draco Lich shows up, I'm sure he'll tell us.
Hopefully before he tells the Draco Lich.
One moment.
And
I'll be right back.
perhaps we should be traveling during the night. Although, out of character, traveling during the day means that it's not confusing what day it is.
Yes. We've done so much like third shifts, like it's almost normal now.
Yeah, I'm getting flashbacks over here.
I got him.
Yeah, I mean,
I think Ulrich would just point out that if we travel during the night, we do have to expend
Alright, I'm back.
the spell to allow Ulrich and Yarvik to see at night.
Yeah.
Yeah, that does take out. That was going to be my next point. Is that takes out 2 of my spell slots.
Which-
every day.
I mean, theoretically, we do have to do it for the watches as well, but you know,
yeah, I mean, like, I think we should travel during the day, because even if we get into a fight during the day, I mean, I have spells, but I don't need to target somebody with, so I won't have disadvantage on them.
Right.
So that one makes the most sense to me.
Perhaps if we sleep at night, we can find a good way to conceal ourselves if we choose camp places carefully.
Yeah.
Also, if we're moving at night and they're moving at night, we're more likely to bump into each other. So.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm liking the idea of traveling at night less and less. As convenient as it was when we were traveling across the north of Necrata, shelter may be few and far between here, and being able to spend some time and stop moving to hunker down might be well worth it.
hey, Ulrich pulls out a like a piece of paper and his inkwell and whatever, and he just writes on it, "Home is where the heart is." And it says, "What if we just like every time we go camping in the night, draw a big old circle around us, attach this to a stick, and see how that goes."
Well, Reynard said something about doors. I think you're on the right track. Maybe we could carry a bunch of doors with us.
But guys, the circle thing only works with sea bears.
What?
I think what you're referring to, says Reynard, is the inability for a vampire to enter an abode uninvited.
Yeah.
It's called forbiddance. A vampire cannot enter a residence without an invitation from one of the occupants, which is why none of our homes have doors, and why doors are forbidden in the realm. They aren't residences.
I mean, that's. I don't think it's actually going to work or anything.
Trust me,
but
I wish it did.
yeah. So travel to the in the daytime, rest at night, keep a watch up.
If you want a best of both worlds, we could travel close to the end of the night and into the morning. They might be less active as day is approaching.
Yeah, I mean that also sounds good. But at the end of it all, we're still gonna mostly be traveling during daytime, during vampire off hours. So
We'll still need
Alright, it
to
makes
keep an eye out for patrols of the non-vampiric variety.
who else is patrolling these days?
Those who serve them.
Ah. So basically everybody?
As I said, we're gonna want to avoid people.
Well, sounds like we have a plan. Let's start heading that way. Definitely not so I can go ahead and meet a Trick Village, but
Well, if you'd like to rest for the night, it is getting in the evening. We can start early in the morning, perhaps before the sun rises. We can begin our travel south. And then go from there.
Sounds like a plan to me. But we should stock up before we leave here.
Yes, I would suggest that. I don't know the next time you'll be able to stop in a town to stock up. Maybe get a good night's sleep.
so out of character, how much longer do we have left in the day before we should be getting ready to travel in the morning? Or before taking the rest of travel in the morning?
It's evening, so you could spend an hour or two preparing and then resting and then heading out.
Okay, gotcha. Gotcha. I was just wondering because Zippo was going to, if we had time, offer to trade, or offer to do prestidigitation on, like cleaning stuff, like he did last time.
You did that in Freehold.
Was that in Freehold? Oh, my
Mhm.
bad.
That's how you got your armor.
Yeah, I remember getting the armor from somewhere. I just didn't remember if it was here or there.
It makes sense. It was in this realm. It's just a lot more east.
Yeah. In that case, Zippo's going to just kind of like, for the couple hours he's resting, he's going to be in the wood.
Okay.
And while he's holding the orb, he's actually going to spin and see if it changes his perspective in it.
Okay. You can look in every direction. You always have been able to, from what you're looking out of. So it's literally, now that you know what the item is, you're literally looking out from the small globe that is paired to the orb that you're holding. You can't see the orb itself that you're looking out of, but you assume it probably has a similar shape and size to the one you're holding now. But probably looks a little different because this one has the cool ornamental effect of spikes.
Gotcha. Okay. Okay. Then instead of spinning, he's going to just keep whispering out stuff in different languages.
Okay.
Hopefully, going into the orb, we think. I mean, he got identified that he probably can't do that, but he's got like that little sliver of just pure confidence it'll work.
Mm-hmm. Sounds good. All right. So you're gonna kind of hang out at Reynard's, or are you gonna follow the group?
If Reynard has no opposition to it, I'll just sit here that way. Or can go do his own thing. He doesn't have to carry me.
Okay. Reynard is fine with it. Okay, so for the rest of the party, I'll go back alphabetically. So Yarvik, what are you looking to stock up on while you're here before heading south?
Arrows are kind of good. I got rope. I got the basics. Guess any rations. Let's see. Other than that, I'm good.
Okay.
Real quick question.
Yep.
Can Zippo send somebody with some coin to get him some rations as well? He's also out.
Sure
I
thing.
forgot about it till they said rations.
You can go ahead and ask somebody to do that.
Somebody willing to get me some rations? I don't know how much rations are. I will give you the coin.
Yep.
Okay.
Ulrich will be buying rations.
Perfect. How much do rations cost in this town?
Well, so I will, and Wombat, tell me if this is going to be the case. I seem to recall that Raynard did say that their supplies are dwindling. So did they even have rations to sell?
There are rations you can purchase, but they're kind of more plant-based than meat-based. Like dried oatmeal that you can add water to, things like that, like oat-based stuff. That being said, their money, if you recall, is also different.
Oh, right.
So, it's actually a lot more expensive to purchase than it would be in Seregen. You remember the good old days when you'd be able to pay 5 silver pieces per day and get a good old hardtack, some dried fruit, nuts, and jerky. This is, without the jerky and instead an oatmeal. And it's 5 gold instead per day.
Okay. I mean, Ulrich's sitting on 2,000 plus gold, so...
Yeah, I believe Rift hooked us up.
Yep, he did.
Yep. So, he is, and he also has a bag of holding, so he is willing to purchase as many rations as he feels will not, be bespoiled in the timeless void that is the bag of holding.
We're talking about the normal bag of holding or the
regular bag of holding.
Okay.
So yeah, whatever they're willing to part with and that he feels is achievable.
Okay.
So we do need to make sure we have rations for Tokim.
Yep, that's part of why I just figured I'd buy us a ton of rations as much as I can
So
get away with.
how many days of rations are you planning for?
There are 6 of us, and
That's
I
30.
assume the journey will. Yeah, you're right. 7. My bad, because we're gonna have. So
8 actually, yeah, because we have her too. So Brynhild, I'm counting Brynhild as well.
Oh,
She has
okay. Yep. I apologize. 8. So
450
although-
miles.
and we travel roughly 20 to 30 miles a day, if memory serves.
Think of each square if you're on foot as a day.
The
Okay.
17 or 18 days.
That.
Probably best to account for 20.
Yeah.
Remember that
So
the
20
first,
days worth time.
So she says somewhere around here is where the tree is that will take when you're going from the south tree in the tree network. So you'll be here, so that'll cut out a few
Right.
days.
Okay.
Yeah, I think Ulrich would still want to plan for the 20
Okay.
just to be safe. I mean, again, just knowing he has a bag of holding.
Yeah.
12 or 13 days.
That's
more realistically.
That's 800 gold if we had 20 days.
Rations get expensive, man. Especially when they're gold and not silver.
Especially when they're I was gonna say, yeah, when they're
especially
10
when we're
times the
buying
amount.
all of the food from a starving village.
Yeah, that's the thing is like I don't want to take away their food supply.
They're
I think
probably
Ulrich would be mindful of that.
They probably are willing to part with half of what you're asking for.
Okay. Yeah, Ulrich will. So
10
how many
days
would
worth
that be?
of food instead of 20, right?
10 days, so 80 rations because 8 people.
Right. So
Can
400.
I not? Yep. Does it not let me? Huh. Interesting. Bag of holding. Okay. And he did have a few still on him as well. So that'll put us at 85. That was 400 gold. Ulrich would also. Previously, he got an elven breastplate. He has a mace and shield.
Well, as
You
much
have a
as
bow
I
and
probably
arrow.
wouldn't want to do it. What's Ulrich's armor class right now with the elven breastplate?
Including a shield, it's 18.
Okay, that probably wouldn't. I was gonna say I've got the mithril half plate, but it's medium armor.
Oh,
Its armor class
interesting.
is 16. Yeah, you have a +1 bonus while wearing the armor.
I mean, if it's got an AC of 16 and a +1, it's better than what I've got. But I think it's good for you to have
can't
that
wear it.
personally. Oh, you can't wear it at all?
No, when I switch classes, I can't wear armor at all.
Oh.
Yeah, he's just been hoarding it in the bottom.
Because it's dragon scale.
Yeah, because it's dragon.
Oh.
Yep.
I mean, Ulrich wouldn't take that from you. Because it's a sentimental thing. He would hate for it to be broken in any way. I guess any weapons that Ulrich might find. That's the only other thing I would do.
Does Ulrich have a ranged weapon?
He does have a crossbow, yeah.
I guess what in particular are you looking for? Magical items, regular weapons?
Magical in
Okay.
nature, yeah.
So they do have some magical weapons. Is there anything in particular style-wise you're looking for? Slashing, piercing?
Piercing,
Mm-hmm.
for
Okay.
no in particular reason. I
Uh,
feel like piercing might be something that is vaguely known from the stories that prevail about vampires.
Roll a history check.
Okay. 21.
Yep. Piercing is something usually wooden piercings are what are most effective.
So yeah, I mean, if there's anything that kind of fits within that realm, you would go for it.
All right. There's no wooden magical weapons, but there are various swords, some of which are piercing weapons, like a rapier and so on. You see mainly swords, like short swords, long swords. I can look up a list to give you more. It's really if there's something in particular you're looking for, I can see if they have it or not.
Sure.
Do they have the magic longbows?
There you go.
What type? What type of enchantment you looking for?
I really kind of looking for what they might have that I could afford with the 2,000 gold.
So not much. 2,000 would get you a +1 usually.
I do have these 2 immovable rods I could trade in, which I've not been able to do anything with really since I got them.
You've used them a few times. They saved your butt in the trials, for example.
I think that is the only time I've used them. They were useful there, though. Yes.
Yeah, I guess you haven't used them as much.
We just don't do a lot of dungeon delving. That's like and to be fair, Roger is just not much of a climber.
That was pretty apparent from the very first couple sessions.
Oh, falling down the mine shaft over and over again. Why do you think I have a climbing kit with all of these hammers and pythons and rope? It's because I can't climb just a sheer cliff face.
So you could probably trade in one of the immovable rods for a +1 longbow.
I also have this mummified goblin hand.
They're not really interested in remains of people. And you're not really sure why. Oh wait.
Well, if I can get a +1 either way, I'd rather just spend my gold.
Mm-hmm. So for a +1, it would be 2,000 for the enchantment, and then whatever the weapon would cost as well, on top of that.
I could trade in my non-magical longbow.
Okay, yeah, that would do
They
it.
would be okay with that.
In fact,
Yeah.
you could pay them 2,000 to enchant your longbow if you would like to keep it.
Yeah, perhaps. If I also give them an immovable rod, would they be able to put anything on it? Or
So it goes up exponentially for a second enchantment.
Gotcha.
So be wary of that. It's 2,000 for one. I think it's 4,000 for the next one.
Okay.
So, that being said, I did write down. So, D&D 5th edition actually doesn't give you guidance on what things cost magically, because magic items are supposed to be rarer in this setting, which I find to be bullshit. I really like the trade of magical items. So what I did was I painstakingly defined what each thing costs. So like I have them written in my book. So let me see here. So I guess the first question is a movable rod, what type of, which item table does it pop up on?
Uncommon, according to D&D Beyond.
Okay. Okay, immovable rods are 4,000. So, with your 2,000 and your immovable rod, you could get a +2 or +1, and then elemental damage or something like that. That would actually work out pretty well.
Yeah. So what, 6,000 total for +1 with an elemental damage rider?
Yeah.
Or it can help with the money.
I've got... So I have 2,000 gold, and I do have an immovable rod.
So you have the money.
Yeah, I've got the money.
It's the you're trying to decide what to put on
what
it.
I can get, what I can put on it. Honestly, seeking is probably the most useful thing for me because I already have so much damage. With just like making sure that I hit my shots more frequently matters more. Like bonus damage is cool, but it's...
So I see Seeking in 3.5. Is Seeking also a 5th edition?
Oh, I have no idea. If
Sorry,
this
what
was 3.5, I'd just look at the table, but I have the...
What was the question?
Is Seeking an enchantment you can get in 5th edition?
I mean, anything's an enchantment, but like it's not a. I don't know of that. They don't do tags like that in 5th edition.
Yeah.
But anything can, it. You just described that it does that.
Yeah, I mean, so there is something of the sort that I've developed. So let's see here. Only ranged weapons can have the Seeking ability. The weapon veers toward its target, negating any missed chances that would otherwise apply, such as from concealment. The wielder still has to aim the weapon at the right square. Arrows mistakenly shot into an empty space, for example, do not veer and hit invisible enemies. Catching a returning weapon when it comes back is a free action if the character can't catch it, or if the character has moved since throwing it, the weapon drops to the ground. So that's what Seeking is. Oh, that's interesting. No, so it looks like they accidentally put returning in that returning phrase. They bumped it down to Seeking by accident instead of in returning.
Hooray for early Wizards of the Coast sloppy editing.
Oh, this is a wiki.
Yeah. No, that's just bad wiki editing then.
Yep.
Maybe I will just go for elemental damage. That's well defined.
So yeah, flame burst. Flame burst weapon functions as a flaming weapon. Explodes a flame or flaming. Sheathed in fire. Yeah, we could do the elemental damage of. Let's see here.
Ooh, could we do holy?
I don't know if you
Actually-
can do holy.
I'd say actually Roger probably can't wield that because he is lawful neutral and not lawful good.
You can get stuff that just does radiant damage, which is technically the holy of this game.
Oh yeah, 5th edition doesn't have holy damage.
Yeah, you could just like. There's a bunch of spells I could have took that.
Yeah,
do
radiant
damage.
is holy.
Yeah.
Now, whether they'd be allowed to make that in a settlement ruled by vampires would be the question.
Oh,
Can
Min is in here too.
can acid be the elemental damage type that gets put on the arrow?
Yes.
Okay. Because that I think is a damage type that we don't have covered between all of the party stuff and might have some utility out of combat. And shouldn't conflict with my fire arrows. So I'll trade 2,000 gold and one of my movable rods.
I can do acid damage.
You can do acid damage?
Yeah, it's one spell, but
Oh shit.
I'm pretty sure. Let me double check. Yeah, Chromatic Orb can do acid, fire, lightning, frost, poison, and
Okay,
thunder damage.
You can do everything. You don't count. Because Ulrich's got ice damage, Yarvik has an arrow that does electric damage.
I can also do necrotic with blight.
Yeah. And I've got fire arrows, and I think Yarvik also has fire arrows, so we don't need a weapon that also adds fire.
And the main spell like spam also does psychic damage.
Yeah. Yeah, I'll go for acid arrows.
Okay.
And I would also like to buy just regular arrows.
Okay. So let's call it an acid marked longbow. It'll do an extra 1d6 of acid damage with your shot when you hit. And
Is that also a +1 longbow?
yes. And
Okay.
while you hold the weapon, you will also have resistance to acid.
Ooh.
Let me let Min know. Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, yep, let me mark that on my sheet that I have.
Reynard does it himself, by the way.
Fancy.
So you're paying Reynard for this.
And then I've got 24 gold left with which to buy arrows. And I'm going to buy as many as I can with that.
They cost 1 gold pieces each. So if you're doing that, you want to buy 24 or?
Yeah.
Okay, done.
Yep. That'll bring me up to 39 arrows in total.
Nice. All right, that's Roger. Ulrich? Yarvik?
Ulrich, Ulrich is just looking for.
So yeah, that's right. Go ahead.
I was gonna say, I think based on all of that, just an enchanted mace.
Okay.
Just a basic enchanted mace.
+1 or some other.
Yeah, something along those lines.
Okay. +1 enchanted mace. Are you enchanting the mace you have?
If it's cheaper, yes.
It would be, because then you wouldn't have to pay for the weapon. You're just getting the plus 2,000 gold on it.
Right. Just check.
Yeah, let me just check as well. Reynard also, by the way, apologizes for charging.
I mean, makes perfect sense to me.
Oh, that's funny.
Maybe the only thing Yardrick would need would be like I'm currently using just light regular leather armor. Is there anything kind of better? I still don't want to leave the light category, but something better than the armor class 11.
So you can take a look at light armor and see if there's something there. Let's see here.
Where do I look at that at?
Yeah, player's handbook. But let me light armor 5e. So your light armor options are padded armor, leather, or studded leather. What are you currently wearing? Leather?
Yeah, just leather. So studded leather, I guess, would be the step up.
You could also look for items that add to your armor class without having to be like buying a whole piece of armor. So like if you're enchanting your armor to be magical, or you're just looking for a base armor.
Just a base. I don't have the money for a
Okay.
magical. Plus, I already have the bow and the sword and all that other stuff.
Let me get my PHB out. While I'm doing that, anything else you're looking for?
No, just that.
Okay.
Light armor. There we go.
So studded leather would be a plus 12. Right, it would be a 12 plus your dex instead of 11.
Yeah, and then I just would. Does medium armor? Does moving up to medium armor cause any kind of like? Is there a penalty to that?
So there's a penalty to stealth if you take scale mail or half plate. But if it's
Right.
hide or chain, you should be okay.
Yes, the chain. Chain would be good. That's +2 from where I'm at right now.
Go ahead, Ulrich.
Chain shirt, chain mail is, I believe, heavy armor. As a ranger, you should be good with medium armor as long as you have proficiency, and it doesn't give disadvantage on stealth checks or something.
So the chain shirt is a 13, and then the chain mail
Right.
is heavy, which is a 16.
Right. You could also do a breastplate, which is...
It's 400 gold, but it's got you a 14.
I think I'm good with the chain shirt. I think the chain shirt is a good compromise. +2 my armor class. Still kind of fits my playstyle. I think that would probably be good. And it's 50 gold.
What's your dexterity?
Hold on a second. Hold on, that just took me to a different page. How do I get back to my character sheet?
I got it. Your dexterity is a 20. So
20.
you get a +2 to your AC from that. You got an armor class of 16 right now, so you're
Correct.
trying to raise it up to an 18. Yeah.
Yep, that's correct.
So yeah, the chain shirt will do you good. That's 50 gold for that.
All right.
And while you're marking that down, Belzine, anything?
Belzian might go to the butcher so that we might find some steaks for these vampires. But really, any magical accoutrements or like cloaks? Surely there's like a cloak of elven kind. or
Yep,
maybe
there is a
boots
cloak of elven kind.
kind.
The cloak is 5,000 gold though. Boots are the boots are only 2,000.
Sorry, I meant. Yeah, it seemed like a good idea at the time.
The boots of
Any of
elven
those,
kind are 2,000. So those while you wear those boots, you'll make no sounds regardless of the surface you're moving across, and you have advantage on dexterity stealth checks. That rely on moving
Okay.
silently.
That seems reasonable, unless you have something like gauntlets of ogre power kicking around. But there doesn't seem to be a lot of ogres in this town.
So I'm just gonna double check on what that is. Is that a uncommon?
It's an uncommon. It just bumps strength to 19. Failing that, the boots of elven kind are great.
So the gauntlets of ogre power are 9,000. They're pretty rare.
Well, maybe next time. But I'll take boots of elven kind if they have any of those.
Yep, they do. 2,000 gold, please.
Okay.
Okay, so I went ahead and added the. Just see my thing. Hold on a second. I went ahead and added the chain shirt, but it didn't change my armor class.
It didn't change your armor class?
It didn't change.
Did you equip it?
Did you equip it is the question.
Adding it to your inventory is different than equipping.
Yeah, it isn't in my equipment, and it is checked. Like
Okay,
Do you have the other one unchecked?
Actually, I unchecked it, and then I just went ahead and deleted it. So I guess whatever that sellback would be.
So I see you unchecked. So now you're down to 15. So you traded in your leather, so that would have been 5 gold back.
Okay.
I don't see. Did you add your chain to your? Oh, here it is.
Just click on the AC and see if there's anything that's doing like a forced.
Chain shirt's 13 plus 2. So yeah, so that's the 13 from that, and then you have a. Oh, okay. So here's the thing with leather. Leather has a no max for your dex modifier.
Oh, for the dex, right? Your dex is high enough.
But when you go to medium, it only it maxes out at 2. So you're actually better off with your leather.
Yeah.
Okay.
You can upgrade the studded leather, which will give you 1 more.
All right, let's do that.
So that's 45 gold instead of 50.
Yep. Hold on, let me manage that.
So just add 5 back in addition to the 5 you just gave yourself. You should be good. Anything else, Palsian?
If there's a temple or religious site about dedicated to the 12, Belzin will leave 12 coins.
There's a glade with a stump carved with a ornate patterns, and in the center is a sundial with the 12 depicted in their symbols but it's like figures holding their symbols. You can just make out men or women in those depictions holding their symbols. Wander holding a flute, for example, so on and so forth. Darcy's holding an hourglass.
I will leave 12 coins.
Or no, Twain. Sorry, Twain's holding the hourglass. Thank you. All right, cool. You leave 12 coins at the sundial. Good to know. Anything else for Yarvik or Zippo?
I'm good.
After messing with the orbs, I might go look around and see what alternative items they have.
Okay. Anything in
As well,
particular
I'm
you're
going
looking
the item
for?
hunt. I mean, let me see what's good with.
Sure.
I don't think he's proficient in a lot of weapon type stuff. No, I mean he's really better with spells, so he'll just see if there's anything they have that's like something like that can help him with spells, or maybe like anything like he can like an equip that will make him maybe harder to hit, or give him something he can use like that's kind of like a spell, like a I don't know, robe or something that lets him cast a spell or something like that, or buffs a spell.
There doesn't seem to be too much of that in terms of spell boosters. There are I'm looking for see if there's any boots of protection. Give me 2 D100 rolls for me, please.
Okay.
Let's go about it this way.
35 and 86.
Okay. So there's a potion of animal friendship that they have for sale. It's only 200 gold. And a cloak of the manta ray. It looks very similar to that cloaker that you folks fought. The cloak of the manta ray is priced at 5,000 though.
Okay.
There's also scrolls of protection if you need something in a pinch.
Gotcha. Suppose good then. He'll just after messing with the orb and looking around, he'll just group back up with the party to be ready for later.
Okay. And if there's something that you think of between this and next section, we can always talk. If there's something that you think of. All right. So once you folks are done shopping, you are invited to since last time where you stayed was at Gormier's house. Gormier's house is of course unlocked because there are no doors. Reynard gives you permission to stay there if you'd like.
This is probably the last good sleep we're going to get in a while, so Yarvik is definitely going to avail himself of the opportunity.
Yeah.
Yeah, let's get some rest.
Ayer finds you before you go to sleep. Probably since Zippo's there with Reynard, kind of finds him and finds the rest of the group elsewhere and says, I will meet you 2 hours before first light tomorrow.
Oh, great.
Excellent. We'll see you there.
All right. Are we taking watches?
We probably should.
Or getting a full night's sleep?
I think we're probably okay to get a full night's sleep. Honestly, I think we're probably okay.
That's fair enough.
Agreed.
Roger's going to trance, obviously, for the first 4 hours, but he'll be up in case something happens after that.
Okay.
Vampire, I'm sure we'll figure it out.
It would save us so much time.
All right, so y'all go to sleep. Toe is kind of super excited to be in one of the tree houses, and is kind of like looking around, and is reminded not to touch somebody else's stuff. So he kind of puts his hand in his pockets and is just kind of looking around in wonder, asking everyone a million questions about the elves here and whatnot, which I assume you answer as much as you can.
Yeah.
He basically turns to the group and says, Are we really gonna go into the vampire lands next?
Yes.
Okay.
We must.
And he's like, I'm ready when you are. And he kind of sits by the door and is like, begins to trance next to the door.
Yeah, I'll tell him the same thing I said earlier, right? The rest now. We may not be able to for a while.
He nods dutifully. All right. Before you know it, Ayer has appeared and woken those who are still sleeping and kind of motions to Roger to do the same.
Yep, I'll prod everyone awake.
Okay.
All right, we're feeling good. We're feeling ready.
Feeling attuned to any items we got.
Yep. Feeling attuned if you spent the hour to do it before you went to sleep.
Heck yeah.
Otherwise, you'll have to take another point in time to do it.
Oh, let us be off.
Away we must.
She nods grimly and leads the group. The town is quiet, but you can still see evidence of activity in the early hours. In the lands of the vampires, no one ever truly sleeps, I suppose. You find yourselves walking south. You're familiar with this side of town, Roger, a bit because of your experience traveling via the tree network before and not wanting to waste a leaf, walked back the old-fashioned way and ended up finding yourself in the south part of town. So this area looks somewhat familiar, although it has been several weeks and you walked through it once, so that be what it is. Similarly to the tree that was outside of town to the west, Ire leads you folks toward a tree south of the town a bit. Not immediately on the edge like the other one was. She asks the group if they have any leaves left from their journeys or if they need more.
We have exactly 5 remaining.
Okay.
For reasons that would take way too long to explain.
Well, that will cover the 5 of you. I assume the dog's remaining in the bag. Okay, then she looks at Toe and says, "Then I guess this is for you." And she holds out a leaf to him. He kind of takes it in reverence and looks at it and is like, "What do I do with it?" And she looks at Roger and says, "Do you want to show him or should I?" "I got it," she says. And she holds the leaf out in front of her. It glows golden like before, and she walks into the tree and disappears. Toe excitedly goes, "Whoa!" and does the same and goes through the tree.
Alright, let's follow. Roger will walk into the tree.
Okay.
Then step back and try again, leaf held high.
Yep, Ulrich will follow suit.
For sure, let's go.
Yep, Yarvik will do the same. This always feels so weird
Yep.
as
And
it goes into the tree.
that weird feeling persists as you find yourself traveling along the root network of the tree. It's kind of a little bit more twisty and turny as you go through. It doesn't seem like all the roots connect the way you'd like them to. So you're kind of whipped back and forth instead of in a kind of a straight line as before. Perhaps this might have something to do with dying roots or dying trees. Before you can think about it too much, though, you are through to the other side. You exit the tree in the same momentum that you stepped in at. So Toe kind of, you can see him kind of on his knees because he ran through and lurched out the other side and landed. You're in the edge of a forest. You can see out and see a valley with a river that splits into that two rivers kind of merge into one. At the split, you see that there's a town nestled in the split of the river. 15-foot polished stone wall juts up around most of the city. The wall leans outward just enough to be uninviting, reinforced by wooden beams, the tops of which are sharpened into points. A small group of humans labor to repair a section of crumbling stone under the watch of two men brandishing canes and whips. Only the river docks and a few scattered farms are unprotected in this area. Nestled on the hill just visible behind the wall and jutting roofs are a quintet of stately houses and an imposing villa keeping watch over all the surrounding lands. It doesn't take long for you to spot a welcoming party consisting of guards and a herald coming your way. Ire steps forward as they approach and joins them and turns to the group and says, "My mistress requires your presence,"
I knew this.
as she grins eerily. And that's where we're going to end session.
Dun dun dun.
We are done for the night. But thank you very much for joining us, everyone.
So I'll just place this on the map. You are about here. So, folks, we will see you in 2 weeks for our next session, right? That'll be the 26th of September. Is everybody still okay with that?
Yep.
Sounds good.
All right, perfect. So we will see y'all next time. Have an excellent night, and be safe. Bye, everyone.
Au revoir.